crazy. We still have people coming in, so we're going to give it a few more minutes because we still have people coming in, and I see people's names here that I haven't seen in a while. So welcome. Oh, hey, Stacy and Susan and Toby. Oh my goodness, we have so many people, and a lot of them, you, Gladyss, know them.
Is it Toby Sock? Is that
yeah?
Hi, Toby.
And yeah,
Andy Minor.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of people, and they're still coming in. So okay.
Wait. Oh, wait. I'm seeing something. I'm seeing a name, Dana DeCapit.
Oh, do you see it now on yours?
Oh, doesn't Rosaline have the most incredible last name?
Oh, good. I'm happy you found it. The chat box. Beautiful.
She's good.
Excellent. All right, we're almost going to start. We're just waiting a little bit because there's still a lot of people coming in. Give it just a few more minutes. And hi, Shirley from Connecticut. Hi, Tina. Tina's watching from YouTube. And Cheryl and Debbie, and hi, everybody. Let me see, I'll go down the list and say hi, everybody. Hi, Sheila and Kay and Andy and another Andy. Anna, Arlene, Barbara. Oh, Barb's a very popular name. Beth and another Beth, Cheryl, Dana, Deb and Cassie. I don't know if Deb and Cassie are watching together. And another Debbie, Dory, Elizabeth, Ellen, Ginny, Jan, Joanne, Karen, and another Karen. Katie, hello, Katie. And Kim White's here with us tonight. Laura, Linda Long. We've emailed together, but I've never spoken to her. Lynn and
Susan, you said a Susan. Gitlitz?
Yeah. I know Susan.
All right.
Marilyn, Marjorie, Mary, Rosaline, Sandra, Shelley, Shirley, Stacy, Susan, Toby, Vicky.
Wow.
So far. Yeah, we got a lot, and there'll be more popping in, I'm sure. And we've got quite a few watching on YouTube as well. So I think we can actually officially get the show on the road. So welcome, Mahjong enthusiasts, to Expert Connect. I'm Debbie Barnett, and tonight I have the honor being joined by a true pioneer and visionary in the world of Mahjong. Gladyss is known as the mastermind behind the revolutionary Mahjong Master Point system, and Gladyss is the creator of Siamese and Royale Siamese Mahjong. Tonight, we're going to delve even deeper into the brilliance behind these remarkable versions of the game that have captivated players worldwide. And we have the privilege of hearing it all from the creator herself. Throughout the event, we will gain insights into the creative process behind these innovations and more. After the interview, you'll have an opportunity to engage in Q&A with Gladyss, and we'll talk more about how that will work again once the interview is over. So without further ado, let us welcome Gladyss Glad, a true legend in the world of Mahjong. Gladyss, I am so excited to have you here tonight.
Thank you. My head is now so big. Thank you for the icing on top of the cake. I can go now. That was beautiful.
Well, you're welcome. Well, I am just so inspired. I'm so inspired by you, and I know that everybody is as well. So get ready for a fun interview. And I always start out with pretty much the same question, because we all want to know how somebody got involved with Mahjong. So tell us a little bit, Gladyss, about your Mahjong journey.
Oh, all right. My daughter said, Ma, she became a young mom. I have learned how to play Mahjong. You will not believe this game. And this was like 2000, this is like 1998, 99. And I said, I already know how to play Mahjong. I used to nurse you at the game when I was a kid, which I only played when I was a kid, when I was a young woman. And I only played it starting at the age when I had children, because I was not going to play that game that old ladies played. My mother was probably 38, 40 at the time when I made that decision, but they were all too old. They all ate too much and drank too much. But I loved the sound of it and I loved playing with it. My brother and I used to build, like Jenga. But Stacy said to me, I am going to these wonderful tournaments. I want you to play, so you're going to have to get me going again. I know the names of all the tiles. But I was playing a 14 tile game, a very northeastern version from New York all the way down to Florida.
Me too.
Actually 14 tiles, not a future.
Yeah.
You play 14. So I was called dead 8 times in my first tournament. 8 times for throwing before picking. So I came back to the girls here and I said, I really love this game now. I really love the tournaments. And they all play 13. And I was so embarrassed. My daughter even wrote on the card, sit on your hands, do not throw before you pick. And I didn't listen. And they decided, okay, we'll play 13. They liked it. Some of them left the game. Some of them didn't. I just played with the ones that played with 13. And I became very close friends with Dorothy and Larry Krams, who were running tournaments all over the country. Now, they had already had a wonderful following since 1986, when they ran the tournaments for the National Mahjong League at sea on cruises. And they'd been doing that for, oh my God, well, since that was 14 years or so when I started with them. And then they invited us to go on a cruise to help. And Phil and I, my husband Phil, and I don't know, we made scorecards, we opened tables, we cleaned sets, and we enjoyed the company of everyone on the cruise for that first free cruise. And I said, Phil, we got to keep doing this, but we really have to work harder. So they gave us more to do. And one of the wonderful things about those cruises in those early days was we would eat dinner every night with the National Mahjong League and their kids and their families and the husbands and the wives. And Ruth and I had a lovely relationship and I respected her greatly. And she thought I was this young, I looked young for my age, and she thought I was much younger than I am. And when I finally did tell her how old I was, she suddenly changed a little bit. But anyway, they quit after 24 years. They decided no more tournaments. It wasn't something that they wanted to do anymore. So, and there had been a bulletin that went out every single year that had the cruise in it. And we had an 800 number, Mahjong Madness, it was called. And people would call that 800 number because the National Mahjong League didn't have an 800 number and nobody wanted to make a long distance call.
No, that's so
But get all the calls. And I met a lot of people who weren't on cruises at the time, but they were at the other tournaments.
Wow.
And it was delightful. And I met hundreds, thousands of people just talking to them. So Dorothy, unfortunately, this beautiful woman got sick with breast cancer. And breast cancer, of course, became our top charity that we donated to. And that was in 2002, and she passed away in 2005. And I was by that time running the tournaments with Larry, and he decided to step back. And I took over. He still handled the money. He was still in charge of everything. Phil and I worked the whole thing. We ended up getting 3, 4, 5 other people to help us. And we would travel as this troupe, and we had a wonderful time. Sheila will remember. Sheila definitely will remember this because she was part of that old group. And so I went to my computer just turned off. Hold on. Okay. So In 2011, I bought the company. Company was, I don't know, we had 300-400 in Vegas. We hadn't done Scottsdale yet. We were up in Atlantic City and Atlanta, and a lot on the east coast of Florida, where they still wanted to play with 14 tiles, and they still threw before they picked. I had a very good friend who went there, and they called her dead so many times she literally torn out of the game. But anyway, we grew the company, doubled and tripled in size, and doubled and tripled in places to go. And then I would do a lot of charity tournaments. So that's it.
Wow, that's an
anniversary.
amazing story. And you really were the pioneer of the tournaments as well. I mean, not just these other things, but you really got those tournaments going, and the attendees, the number of attendees were huge when you were doing these tournaments.
Right.
So fantastic. All right, so I want to know the inspiration, and I'm sure everybody else wants to know the inspiration behind number one, Mahjong Master Points, Siamese Mahjong, and Royal Siamese. What motivated you to develop those variations of the game?
In 2005, I posted rules for standardized tournaments. I took the rules that we were doing with the National Mahjong League. That has changed. They only concentrate on social now.
Mm-hmm.
But at that time, the rules were much more specific, very fair, and I started tweaking them a little bit. And I figured, I am really tired of hearing people make fun of Mahjong as an old ladies game, or as a game that just didn't have much integrity, or what kind of challenge? It's just a bunch of little gals getting together and eating Raisinets, and popcorn, and I disliked that. And I remembered playing bridge for a quarter of a point when you played in a tournament, and bridge master points was very distinctive and it held a lot of power in the world of bridge.
Mm-hmm.
If you played with Larry Collin, the big shot in bridge, and if you won a cruise, you paid $1,000 to play with him, and all you got was a quarter point. So I wanted to build the integrity, of the game. It's all over the world. People have points and ranks. And so I created Mahjong Master Points. That was something like 2012. And it was really going strong. We had like over 10,000 until COVID, hit. And we had several Grandmasters of Mahjong was at the top, just like Grandmaster of Bridge, White Tile Master, Green Tile Master, Red Tile Master, depending on how many hours you played, how many people were in the tournament, how long it went, and how many points you accrued. And this website, this genius website that they built for me, formulated all of that online. I didn't have to do anything except to input it. And all you had to do was send me the scores in the name. I happen to have like 6 Karen Cohns. So I have to know Karen Cohn who lives in Alabama, or in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
So I have to have something that separates out who they are, So, but Mahjong Master Points is grown incredibly. And the website is still up, and now the tournaments are slowly but surely coming around again and sending, and I'm doing it for free now. I said, you just send it in, and I pay a guy 50 cents a name.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. And what about Siamese? And then of course Royale came after. So what inspired those versions of the game? What was behind your mind that made you think about 2 people playing this game the way you created it?
It didn't take a long time to think about it. I was on a cruise. I was on the Allure of the Sea for a site inspection for an upcoming cruise. This was in April of 2015. And I was all alone because my husband had just passed away. And I don't know, I cried walking on the ship. I cried sitting on the ship. I cried eating on the ship. I went to bed at 8 o'clock at night. And, but I was meeting with the staff like we did every time we did a site inspection, which by the way, did not get for free. I had to pay for that. And they said to me, Gladyss, and we know you're here for Mahjong. Could you please check the sets, see if they're complete? They had 3 or 4. And there's a few people want to learn how to play, or can you set up a game? And I couldn't have been happier because I was miserable. Everyone is on their chip with a spouse or a cousin or a reunion or whatever. And me. And even at my table, I was the only single person. So I'm in the room, and there's a whole group of about 40 people playing. They had to double the room, by the way. They only had like a room for 20, and then they opened up another room and gave me for 40. And this girl comes in, she goes, "Oh, I wanted to play." And I said, I have a set that I didn't even know I had in my suitcase. It was a travel set. I'll run down the hall and come back. And I said, "I'll show you how to play for 2." And I made it up on the spot. There was no pre-thought. There was no, how did you come up with this? There was no, how am I going to do this? I just sat down and I said, 2 racks in front of you. We're going to get, I had to figure out it was 27 and 28 tiles. That was the hardest thing to figure out.
And that's always the most confusing, I think, for new players.
I have people call me and say, "You're absolutely wrong, Gladyss. It can't
Oh, I mean, honestly, I know exactly what they're saying because I'm always short a tile. And I'm like, wait a minute, I know I did this right. And I have your rules like on my phone. So I'm like, oh, God, I got to go back to the rules. But
they would argue with me, literally argue with me, these people. And I'd say, okay, honest to God, play it. You'll see they try to play that way. And after the first night, she says, "I love this game. Can you play with me tomorrow?" We played all week. And I started teaching people on the cruise how to play because they saw us laughing so hard. And I had to figure out the scores. I had to figure out how are we going to pay one another. And that's when I figured out we'll just put some money in the pot.
Yeah.
Hey, if you got 500 points, you get $5. If I have 350 points, I get $3.50.
Yeah.
And whatever is left over, we'll split. So, so I came home from the cruise and I'm in bed, I'm crying again. And I'm saying, I got to write a newsletter and I don't know what to put in it. And why aren't you here to help me, Phil? And I thought, oh, I'll just put the rules for 2-handed. I'm sure people could use it because this lady was so happy they have something to do. And then I couldn't think of a name. I know of a honeymoon bridge, and I didn't want to call it Honeymoon Mahjong. It didn't mean anything. And I wanted something that indicated 2 people and was Asian sounding. And at like 2:00 in the morning, it dawned on me. Siamese, because I thought it was Siamese cats. I didn't think of conjoined twins.
No, that would not be. No. Conjoined twins version of Mahjong doesn't sound quite right.
No, but whatever there's a lady out there who says you named it after a handicap, Gladyss. I did not. And I had no idea that anybody was mad at the slanty-eyed cats. I had no idea that was happening. And I was so thrilled. I did a naked woohoo dance in the living room at 2:00 in the morning. Just jumped out of bed. And it took off so fast. And then I get some questions. The one thing I hadn't put down yet was you want to wait for 2 mahjongs. And that, I said that, but I hadn't put that into the newsletter. I just said, you want to make mahjong and hopefully you'll get 2, but never about the 2 at the same time. So that was the first evolution of it.
That's really cool.
Yeah, and then somebody said, "Will we be able to play with 4?" And I said, "Oh, this is how you do it." And I made it up on the spot.
The Royale.
And called it Royale.
Did you come up with the name or did someone put the name in your head?
No, it came up in my head. because I kept thinking of only the richest in China. The most at that in the olden days was when it was first developed, which is not so really old. It's only about 250 years old. But
Yeah.
only they were allowed to play. It wasn't until later during the their political differences and things like that that the lower classes had been playing it, and you couldn't play it anymore. They stopped playing it during Mao Zedong's time, and my husband used to say that only the rich ladies could play it in the concubine area of the
Oh my
emperor.
God.
So I kept thinking of it's an emperor's game.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Imperial Mahjong came out, but that one was suggested by John Davis when he said they had a party. They made a party game and 6 people played. And I said, what are we going to call that one? Imperial Mahjong? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, exactly. Why not, right? I mean, you could keep going on and on probably with creativity.
Right.
And
And then
so you have 2 people and 4 people.
and 3 people.
And 3. But when you talk about Siamese with 2 versus Royale, the main difference is how many sets you're
2
using.
sets. You play with 2 sets for 3 and 4.
And do you use all the jokers, 16 jokers, or
No,
are there variations?
I take out 4 and 4. 4 jokers taken out for the 3-hand and for 3-handed, and 4 flowers taken out. But lots of people don't want to do that. They just love all those jokers.
So they play by their own table rule, basically.
All
And
right, I
you go
figured
in.
I arrived. If somebody's making up table rules, I have arrived. It only took the National Mahjong League 40 years to get to that point.
I know. And now table rules are above their rule. Well, no, I don't want to get into that whole
Now
thing.
they are. Never, ever, ever.
I know.
Stand the rules. They used to
I
hang
know.
up on you when you come up with, I play with the future, bam.
Oh my goodness.
They,
Well,
so
yeah, go ahead.
they didn't want to support table rules. And
Mm-hmm.
somewhere around 8 years ago, I started putting up in the newsletter, please don't be mad at people who play with table rules. They're merely doing it to spice up their games, add a little interest, especially toward the end of the year when, they would like a little bit of a change. So I started talking up table rules. Why not? Because some of them are very clever.
Yeah.
Like not throwing to 3 exposures.
Yeah. I mean, they do spice things up, you have to admit.
Yes.
It's fun. It's fun. I happen to have a few pictures that I pulled off of your website. I just want to share them in case there's anybody watching that has not yet seen your adorable Mahjong tiles and a few other things that I grabbed that you could talk about if you want once I show them.
Okay.
But I just wanted to get this up here. So here we have, let me move my thing out of the way.
That's red hand-painted Siamese cats on 3 layers underneath the design, the white design. If you can see this, like Asian symbols, and behind it is this silver shining through. That's 3 layers. It's hand-painted and it has 4 layers of poly on it to protect it, and the little blue eyes on the cat.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the tiles, you might not notice those blue eyes, but take a look because they are blue.
Yeah.
And they're so pretty.
They're
So
very
pretty.
tiny, very, very tiny.
Tiny little blue eyes, but they're so cute. Beautiful design. Now, this is one of your racks that you also designed, so I need to mention that. And this rack was made specifically for the game. Now, since then, of course, there are other people that make their own styles, but this is the actual original.
Right.
Clever. So for those people who can't quite see it, that have never seen these Siamese racks, because I know 2 people that still play with 2 separate racks.
Yeah, you can do that.
There's 2, yeah, sure. But there's 2 flat parts here. One here where the 5 and 6 PMs are, and one here where the 5 dot is. And then you have 2 slanted portions of the rack.
And it's made out of styrene by a gutter company in America. it's extruded. It is literally impossible to break it. And
Durable.
it's very durable. And I made those in 2015. They were patented.
Nice.
And
And
it
then,
comes with a pusher.
oh, that's right. The individual pushers. Yes. Very
And
nice.
it comes in 4 colors. It comes
Oh.
in Asian red, royal
Okay.
blue, imperial purple, and black cat.
Nice.
And
I
it-
only knew about the 2.
Yeah.
Beautiful. I didn't realize you had 4.
Yeah.
Very nice. And what about on the right-hand side is the cover of your Siamese Mahjong card.
I
Now,
don't see that. It's covered by all these people.
oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Is everybody, oh, you have to move, I think, on your end.
I gotta
Uh,
put mine
can,
in.
can everybody, yeah, just move your little bar, the black bar.
Yeah,
at the
okay.
top. You got it?
Yeah, now that
So-
came out in 2018.
Okay, so 2018 was the first year, and many people play with the National Mahjong League card, but I want you to talk a little bit about what makes your version of the card different. What are some of the fun things about this card?
I started thinking that suddenly, as it evolved, each thing would surprise me. Look at the challenge that's in that. You can literally, when you're playing Royal Siamese with 2 sets, play without jokers and still get 5, 6, and 7 of a kind. And because you've got like 4 extras of every single tile plus 8 extra flowers and jokers.
Right.
So if you want to play to make it more challenging and more skill, definitely more strategy, because you want to wait to get 2 at the same time where you can get more points, 2 mahjongs at the same time. I started addressing the types of hands that would give you that extra challenge, but also just based on the hands that I wish the National Mahjong League had done
Mm-hmm.
or had changed. Probably I said, well, I would really like to see just to run
Mm-hmm.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then you could have 2 pairs of whatever number was in there, like 2 2s, 2, 2 of each suit. I mean, 3 of each suit.
Fun.
Let's say again, of the 3 suits, 2 of each.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know that you've sold a large amount of these cards, in the thousands and thousands, and the amount of people that play these 2 versions of the game right now is incredible. I don't know many people that don't play, but yet once in a while I run into somebody that says, gee, I've never tried it, or I think it's going to be too hard for me to keep track of 2 hands. So can you point out a couple of strategy things that make it different than standard playing the 2 hands at one time?
Strategy wise, it's entirely different because you're going to make a decision. Do I put up? You're almost always going to make 1 mahjong. Almost always. That's why the kids love it, because they have instant, spontaneous satisfaction.
Yeah.
And they're so used to doing things with their thumbs constantly moving and talking. They like to keep engaged talking with the people they're playing with. And they got bored after 2 or 3 months with regular mahjong. When I introduced them to this, they stuck with this game. And I wondered, what was it about this game that they didn't get tired of? And it was the fact that they almost always could make at least 1 mahjong, and where there was another strategy that said, well, wait a second, if I hold back on that mahjong and put 2 up at the same time, even if I've exposed some tiles already, I can still wait and name both of them mahjong at the same time and double the points. So you get double if it's jokerless, and if you do jokerless on a regular hand where you use instead like the quint hand and you haven't used any jokers, you get a bonus of an extra 45 points. And the values are higher, more in keeping with the types of hands you're playing. Instead of just 25 cents, 25, 25, 25, 30, 35. And this is not to denigrate the National Mahjong League. Please don't get me wrong. This is just because I happen to think that I saw a different value in these kinds of hands.
Yeah, exactly. And what about the Joker situation? I mean, do you call Mahjong early on one hand because you want to make one hand and then give up jokers that you might need in the other
you
hand? That's
cannot
all like, you got to figure that out, right?
Once you've called Mahjong, you can't use those jokers. So you have to
Right.
say, oh, I need those jokers. I may need that for the second hand, which is
Yeah.
worth more. Or go ahead and do it because I'm always going to play the singles and pairs. That's worth so much more.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I have to tell you, the kids, the young players, it's not just them. They've gone down to it immediately, but the players that are in Alabama and
Yeah.
Idaho and places I never heard of some of these cities. I even said I never heard of some of these states and they're playing it. And now I just sent 36 cards to Belgium, Austria, and oh God, I forgot the third one, New Zealand. It's in 35 countries. And they're playing with the Siamese rules with their version.
Amazing. Amazing. Really. Yeah. And it's such a wonderful thing to have to play, if you're just if your spouse plays or your partner or a girlfriend and you just get together, two people, it's so much fun. Let's see what else I have.
I have a story to tell you about that. The very first person who wrote to me and said, I love this game because it gave me 3 months of my mother back again. Her mother was in hospice. She was dying. And they sat and they taught each other how to play. She taught her mother how to play Siamese in like 20 minutes.
Oh, how beautiful.
3 months, she said, we laughed, we joked, I got my mother. And then I started seeing pictures of husbands in a hospital and the wife was teaching them or, teaching their grandkids how to play. My heart beats double fast when I see a story like that. So
that's a beautiful thing. Yeah, it really, really is. So Gladyss, tell me did you add an atomic hand to the version? Is that new or old?
That's 2 years old and may never show up again. In fact, in 2022, I put it in and I stole it from the Northeast where they play an atomic hand. Are you any of you familiar? Nod your heads. Any of you familiar with atomic?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I don't see any heads nodding. But anyway, no. Atomic is 7 unrelated pairs. I made it harder. You couldn't have 2 5 dots and 2 5 bands. 7 unrelated pairs in the National Mahjong League game, which meant that you had to pick from the wall or claim your 14th tile, right? And then I made it one bit harder. If you had 14 and you actually had 7 pairs in your hand when you opened up your Siamese, when you opened up your hands, Mahjong, you had to get rid of a pair. You had to get rid of one of those pairs. So which one do you get rid of? You don't get rid of the soap, but maybe you get rid of a 7 dot and expect another 7 dot to come. Because in this one, you can't play between the racks. But in 2022, I said, if you hate this game, I will never do it again. You'll have to call me and let me know. And I had lots of calls and emails. Please do it again. I put it up in 2023. I will never do it again.
Never, huh? Okay. All right. So out with that. Let's see now this is the cutest design I found. Is this a t-shirt? Do you have these available?
Yeah, I'm wearing one now. I only have 2 left. I'm having more made because I wore them on the YouTubes that I did and people started asking, so I just
They're so cute. It's such a cute design.
Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I think that's it on that. So I'm going to stop sharing so we could go back to the questions and all that.
When I moved, I had a truck stolen. That's cute, huh? Stole a truck. And one of my trucks that was stolen had $90,000 of wholesale merchandise on it, mostly t-shirts and sets and stuff like that. See here? See?
Wow. Unbelievable. Let's see it again.
But there's one behind me too.
Oh, wow.
Cats. Never thought I was a cat lady. I love them.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. Okay. All righty. So I also wanted to ask you how, have there been any challenges along the way through this journey of yours, and how to overcome them with the creation of Siamese and Royale? Have you had any setbacks, any challenges at all?
COVID helped the game to become more popular because people were able to play it online with just two people, or in their own homes with just two people. So that was a good thing. But yeah, it's a trademark and it's a copyright and a patent. And there are people who have copied, the cards, and which I'm not so mad about, the copying of the cards. I'm more angry with creating their own cards and calling it Siamese. Or, the same thing with the racks. And I asked a few people who were making the racks, I said, I would like you to send $1 from each rack to Alzheimer's. That's all you have to do to license this.
Interesting.
And they made the racks, and I never saw $1. I never saw a copy of a check. So that I wasn't crazy about. And yeah, I have to protect it. So legally there are some challenges. Yeah. But other than that, when people say, I don't want to play this game. I can't even make one hand. How can I make two? It's so easy to make at least one Mahjong. But then, and I have to talk about this. There's this gal who made these wonderful strips. They're highlighter strips. Tina Gottesman with this, you put the card in the sleeve of this fabric. It's better than vinyl. It doesn't turn yellow or crack or anything. It's clear. And you can put these highlighter strips, which is a cool way to play, your hand. You can rip it off and put it on something else and fake out your opponent. But as a challenge, I think that once people give in to the thought of playing it just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, they're not going to give it up. I think, and I can't believe the people who are playing it. They're all over the world.
Yeah, definitely. So
I can't believe it. It surprises me every day. I have a surprise.
yeah, I mean, it's a great game. It really is. And you've already talked about some of the benefits of playing. I mean, certainly, Mahjong unites people, and this is just another level of that, because now you don't have to wait to get 4 people together. And I've had some of the most enjoyable, fun evenings doing sometimes even just a girl sleepover with a friend and playing Siamese all night. So it's a blast. Now, I don't think we talked a lot about, we touched on Royale and all, but do you need to have different sets, the backs of the sets, to make it easier to separate after? Do you suggest that, but the same front?
Yeah, I actually, that little red cat thing that you saw, there's a partner cat to that. It's like a beigey, a cream color cat with a red shiny back. And so people who buy those sets usually buy 2 of them, so they can easily split them. But I have to tell you, there are Siamese clubs now. I know of them in Los Angeles, San Diego, Boynton Beach.
Really?
Oh God, it's not Atlanta. No, Atlantic City.
Okay.
Chicago, where they
Fabulous.
buy plain white cheap sets, and they keep them in the clubhouse, and there's 2 sets mixed together, and they never have to separate them because they're always playing Siamese. They play Siamese in the morning and regular in the afternoon. Or if you have 6 people, or if 5 people, you can play 3 and 2.
Right.
You don't have to worry about the Charleston. There's no Charleston.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah,
27
You
dials.
don't really need
Yeah.
Charleston with all the titles.
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. All right. What about a favorite success story from a player? Something that stands out? Have any story to share with us?
I know of Jane, who and knew that we were playing Siamese in a mini tournament, and she broke her leg the day before, and she came to play Siamese in the mini tournament
Oh,
on Saturday. And I know a woman who literally fainted and had a mini stroke and came back from the hospital the next morning to play.
oh,
And the stories about what's going on in the nursing homes, where they've got these sets and they're showing them how to play Siamese. And I have these wooden sets that I gave to some of senior centers. I had designed this. I thought everyone would like a wooden set, but not everyone likes a wooden set. A lot of old folks had wooden sets when they were kids. So I came up with this wooden set and with wooden racks, Siamese racks, and gave them markers,
mhm.
and I donated them to the Girl Scouts and to the senior centers and to the one or two of the homes in this neighborhood here where I am in Land O'Lakes. And so they're coloring them in and they're playing with them. And those are beautiful stories. Those are beautiful,
Yeah,
heartwarming things.
for
And
sure.
the fact that husbands and wives, mothers and sons, Tina and her son play. There was another gal who just wrote me today and I can't even remember her name. See? But I can remember my Siamese Mahjong card.
Yeah. All right. And I just wanted to mention there are a few questions coming in, but we're going to get to those as soon as we're done with the interview. So we'll.
Is it getting too dark? Because I don't have any lights on in here. Can you see me?
You don't look dark to me. Do you look a little bit actually, now that I think of it?
Oops.
Oh, you disappeared completely. Ooh, magic, magic, magic. Come back to us, Gladyss. There you are.
My other computer went out.
Oh,
That's the other computer light.
okay. Well, you're good. I can see you. I'm
Okay.
sure everybody else can see you too.
All right, good.
All right. All righty. So, all right. So do you see any, as a creator of these variations of the game, how do you envision the future of these versions? Or do you see any change in regular Mahjong in the future? What kind of plans do you have for any other
I shouldn't have
development?
been that fast, but hell yes. I think that House Rules, did a number on Mahjong. People want changes. And a lot of, there's a lot of us old timers that say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
But maybe it is broke a little bit.
Just a little. You're being kind, just a little.
The game, okay, it started here in the 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And for the last, 85 years, we've been playing the same hands with very little change to the game and with rules. In 61 to 71, they eliminated the 24 flowers that were all wild. They didn't have jokers. 24 flowers, and everybody started with 2. Everybody started with 2 wild. That meant when you wanted to call a tile, when you wanted to claim it, you got to play the game. You didn't sit there waiting for the joker or the person across from you who's the joker whisperer, to put one up so maybe you could exchange for one. It changed the whole luck factor of the game. Chinese is very free moving. Rishi is that's Japanese, a very free moving game. Every one of the Philippines and Thailand all start with 16 tiles, not just 13 tiles. It's 16 tiles. Luck does not play as big a factor in any of those games like it does in this game. They limited the amount of jokers you could play with.
Mhm.
I'm not a joker picker. I don't care. I don't win. Oh, this week is my week and next week is your week. That's not the way things go in my game. Judy wins almost every week. Lucy wins almost every other week. I'm stuck back there maybe in 3 months. I'll win from them. And you stand behind them and they pick in the jokers. I'm not a joker whisperer. And when we used to have Vegas and places where there were people winning at the casino tables, they would come into our tournaments and win Mahjong. So nobody can tell me that there isn't a huge luck factor in this game. So yeah, I see the luck factor being addressed probably in the near future.
Okay, excellent. Well, that's exciting to look forward to.
Yeah.
And one of the things you pointed out earlier, which I love about Siamese, is that everybody is going to win. You know, you're going to win at least one game.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you may get a little daring and try to do those two together. And then other times you say, I'm not going to be selfish. I'm going to take my one win, right? But it gives a nice, a different playing field.
There's more than just playing with winning. It's
Mhm.
playing with, I want to put something up. Please,
Yeah.
let me just put a pound up. Let me put
Yeah.
a pound up.
Yeah.
So let me put a hand together.
Yeah.
Why does that lady always pick the perfect hand? Why does it come to her? That's why I don't want East to have 14 tiles, because I don't want them to have that 28% benefit of that extra tile.
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be dealt a Mahjong, because, I mean, that's wonderful if you're dealt 4 aces, you know, in poker, but then you're still playing the game. You know, what happens, you know, I don't know, they've got so many different games in poker now. You know, I dealt 3 aces. Are you going to be dealt 4 kings? Here, you know, and you can fake it. You can't fake it in Mahjong.
Right.
You can't. No, I mean, well, you can, I suppose, but you know, there's some nefarious players, but luck is. I don't like the big luck factor in our game, and that luck factor is reduced in Siamese.
Yeah, there definitely is a big luck factor in the game. All right, now before we go into Q&A, there's a couple things. One is I want to find out how, if people want to reach out to you for anything, ask a question after, or somebody who's watching back the replay on YouTube, they want to reach out to you, what is the best way to contact you? And I'll make sure it is in the description in the show notes so that everybody has access to it. What's your preferred way, Gladyss?
I am always available. Texting, calling, emailing. I will always get back to you within 24 hours for sure, but usually pretty quickly.
If you don't hear from Gladyss quickly, call her, because sometimes her computer eats emails and her phone does the same.
It's so true, as you know. Especially after this move that I made. I told you.
Oh, my.
Phones and computers. Yes. Call me, email me, text me, GladyssGrad@gmail, or the telephone number where you'll stick it up there, I guess.
Oh, Gladyss is open. She's easy to contact and reach. And I love that. I love that about you. You're a friend. You're a mastermind, but you are a friend.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I truly do like people, you know, so.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to get ready to open it up to Q&A, and I do, like I said, have some questions already up there. But I did want to mention that Gladyss is going to be running a workshop, actually 2 different sessions at MahjCon this year in October in the villages. And I am so excited that you're going to be there. You're going to be teaching Siamese Mahjong, Royale Mahjong, and the next day when we have our full day of either social play or tournaments, Gladyss will be getting right in there and playing with people, whatever whatever you want. She's going to be there, so you could pull her and tug her all different directions. She loves that, right, Gladyss?
I do.
You do. You love
And if
that.
anybody wants to run tournaments, I have sample score sheets and rules. You can follow them or not follow them. You can do whatever you like. I've always had that available for.
Yeah, and I love that, because I'm all about sharing with the community. To me, it's always a pleasure to help and assist other people. Nothing that I have is like, on the QT. So I think that's wonderful. I love that about you. All right. So so I'm hoping that some of you watching will be joining us. Of course, I'd love you all to be joining us. We'll be coming to meet Gladyss in person, because that's going to be so exciting. And the information to check out MahJongg is going to be in the show notes as well. All right, we're going to open up Q&A. I'm actually going to remove myself from the spotlight. So Gladyss, you're going to be center. You're going to be in the spotlight. So I'm going to take mine out of there, and there.
Oh, no, I'm definitely turning out the light.
Oh
No.
my goodness. Okay, you are there, baby. Okay, so Barbara Hoffman asked, can you please go over the scoring again for Siamese, whether it's 2, 3, or 4 hands? Now, I don't know if that's, if you want to take that, if there's any conversation you think is too involved, you could take the conversation
2, 3, or
outside.
4 hand. The best thing to do is to have a piece of paper and give yourself columns. If you're playing with 3 and 4 people, just give each one as a named column. And then as you're making mahjongs, you made a 25 point, you made a 30 point, you made a 40 point mahjong, you doubled because it was jokerless, and then you just add up for those 2 games, for that first game that you're going to be playing. And you can pay after each game. So if Ginny made 30-cent hand and Cheryl made a 25-cent hand, Ginny would pay 25 to Cheryl, and Cheryl would pay 30 to Ginny, or a nickel.
Right. Or
so, but the other way is if you both put in $3, $5, or $10 into a pot, just at the very end, Andy has 500 points, she gets $5. Rosaline has 350 points, she gets $3.50. Cheryl has 200 points, she gets $2. Sandra has whatever, and then anything that's left over, you just split.
Okay. Barb, I hope that answers the question. And if you needed more detail as to what the points values are, of course, you're either going by the National Mahjong League card or Gladyss's Siamese Mahjong card. Right now, what about if you make the 2 mahjongs? Did you just say that?
Double both of them at the same time.
Double both at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
And you do not get penalized if you throw a mahjong. Only if it's for somebody's second mahjong. So that's only minus 20 points. So you're basically making the points because you are making the mahjongs.
Okay.
And if it's a wall game, which never happens, it's plus 10 for everybody. Because somebody's always going to do something.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever had a wall game.
I don't think I have either.
Ever.
But somebody must have, because they asked me for it and I had to go put it on the card.
Oh my. Okay. All right. And Kim White, and this is something we talked a little bit about it before the show. Kim wants to know, how do you play Siamese on an automatic table? Because Kim owns an automatic table. So
really, your husband is the best one to answer this one, I bet. But this is how we play on one of his tables. You put 152 tiles. You have 2 sets of tiles. You put 152 tiles in. You open up the table, put 152 in. Let it.
Mix again or build the walls. Yeah.
What do you call it?
And mixing, shuffles them around, and builds them.
Make sure you give yourself room where the tiles come up, and then let them come up. Then put the rest of them in. You don't have to put 152 exactly. We figured that out.
Yeah.
You can put in 149 and then throw a couple more in, and it counts for you. It counts to 152.
Yeah. So I would like to actually, open it up to Randy. just to give a briefing on the way we do it here. And he also created what's called a sleeve for the second wall that comes up to move it in front of the other wall, because obviously you've got these bigger sized tiles and, it's a little awkward. So it's a little different. Randy, do you want to talk about how we do it?
No.
Yeah, I made the sleeves so that when they come up, of course, they come up in 4 separate stacks, and there's only 2 of you sitting at the table, and you have your first stack in front of you. The sleeve has a detachable pusher, and it's
Talking
actually
about one set, 2 people only. I'm sorry, I was talking 4. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, well, you could do 4 too. We have that too, but I think Kim was asking about regular Siamese. I don't think she was asking Royale.
and then you can use your sleeve to bring the other set of tiles over to your rack.
It's
And
very, very cool.
and you detach the part of the sleeve that you don't use. You just set it off to the side, and and you keep your pusher right there with it, so that you can still push out one row. And that's, we just use the 152 at a time for, just 2 pair, just 2 people playing Mahjong. Royale, you actually can do it. It just puts a lot of tiles on the table.
Yeah, it really does, but it can be done. It's a little
It can be done.
But I'll also put I think I need to get a little video up on YouTube so people can see that demonstration. We have one of that sleeve, Gladyss, and I'll send you a link to it. It's very cool. It just makes it easy and quick.
And you could always just leave them there and open the wall when it gets to that wall. You don't have to put them right in front of each of you.
Yeah, that's true. It could get a little bit more confusing, if something happens and a tile falls into the middle or whatever. So I'm not sure 100% about that, but I would imagine there's probably a couple of ways to go about it.
Yeah.
All right. So
I do recommend, by the way,
yeah,
that you don't leave them unwalled. I do recommend that you build a wall, because one of my favorite people has a sister who cheats, and she says she cheats at Siamese. She always knows where the jokers are. She's followed this line of sight where the jokers are, and no matter how much she shuffles them, her sister always manages to know exactly where everything is.
Oh my God, I swear, I had this conversation about cheating in Mahjong not too long ago, and people say to me, really? Do people really cheat? I mean, what, anyway. All right, so we have it was just a comment, not a question, from Lynn Saltzman, who says she's taught all of her grandchildren to play Mahjong. Love to hear those stories. Fabulous. My friend Donna had her 5-year-old granddaughter with them this weekend, or last week rather, and she posted a picture in her newsletter, and it was adorable. Her 5-year-old knows every tile name already and knows how to put groupings together. So she's pretty much teaching her more like Hong Kong style to start with.
Easier.
It's just so adorable. Like to hear her naming the tiles, Yeah, really cute. Okay, and then let's see. Kim says, so how do we initiate change to the game of luck factor? Well, I think Kim that's a maybe another discussion at another time, because hopefully there are things coming, things on the horizon. I can feel it. So stay tuned for some exciting stuff. And are you going to be at MahjCon? Yes, Gladyss is going to be at MahjCon, 100%. Woo! And let's see here. Joanne Harris asked, have you had any reaction from the boys at the National Mahjong League? That's David and Larry, for anybody who doesn't know who the boys are.
Everybody knows who the boys are.
Any reaction or any comments to you about your developing the Siamese Mahjong game and the card?
when Mahjong Master Points came out, I offered it to them free of charge. It cost me over $12,000 to develop it. And I said, this would be my donation to them for the last time. I just figured, what the heck? I think that it would make so much money that at one point they would say, here, Gladyss, we'll
Yeah.
send you cards forever for no money at all.
Oh,
But they weren't interested.
no.
And I
no.
did the same thing with Siamese. As soon as I came out with it, I said, I just came out with this, this cool way of playing, and we've enjoyed it so much. I've heard so many wonderful, positive things about it. Maybe you can do something with this, or just suggest it. There were a couple people who sometimes there's a little jealousy in the world, and they said, oh,
Did you just say a little, Gladyss? Did
yeah,
you just said a little? Oh, okay. Okay. You're being kind.
Yeah.
they tried to put me down and said, oh, we've been playing two-handed for a long time, and we just play it this way and that way. And she didn't do anything spectacular. She didn't do any. And I thought, oh, why did they say that? But all right.
Well, there's look, you and I have talked about this. I'm grateful to the league for what they've done with Mahjong and how they standardized it. If we wouldn't have this great game today without the league. So I'm grateful. But there are people that are community players, and there are people that aren't community players. Some people want to stand on their own and, not have any, they want to be in the limelight all the time. So we can't do anything about that. But I, again, always say I'm very grateful.
Yeah,
to-
me too. Me too.
Yeah. Yeah.
They were very nice to me. When Ruth died, David called me and he said, you're the first person outside the family that we're calling. And I felt I was so touched. My heart just touched theirs. And because I had great respect for their mom. And I saw how people were excited when they would see her or talk to her. And she did a wonderful job.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
I think that, I miss her. I miss her a lot. The game misses her, I think.
Yeah.
Or like they say, if there's a setup there, they're all playing with her.
Yeah.
So in heaven, and I believe that because she was just remarkable with the game.
All right.
And they had, they say they print up 500,000 cards a year. So, that has to mean something.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
have 50 million
absolutely.
people at least who play.
Oh,
the game.
100% agree. All right. Linda Long has a question for you.
Oh, I know what your question is, Linda.
Oh, you do? You already know it? All right. Why, when East rolls the dice and cuts the tiles, do those tiles go at the end of the first wall? I would have moved them to the end of wall 4.
Yeah.
What's your thinking
I told her
behind
I
that?
was, I've tried it all different ways.
Yeah.
And the people that I play with, which are not, I don't usually follow what they say. Although I play with them all the time and love them more than everybody, they're just, they said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to put it at the end of this wall. But I like your idea, Linda. I do.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. And again, Gladyss isn't standing over you and telling you have to do it that way.
No.
So you could do it any way you want.
but I do recommend that you do build the walls. I know. You know what? It's part of this very private club that we belong to. This very unique, exclusive
Mhm.
Mahjong players, American Mahjong players. And it's part of the foundation of it, build the
Mhm.
walls, roll the dice, split it. It's all part like a secret handshake type of a thing.
Okay. And Linda said, thank you, Gladyss. Love you.
Love you too, girl.
Okay. And Francine, watching from YouTube, wanted to know the dates for MajCon. The dates are October 18, 19, 20. The days can be purchased, the tickets can be purchased as bundle tickets. People that are local are able to purchase individual tickets. I mean, anybody could purchase individual tickets, but if you're coming in from a different part of the country, you'd want to be able to participate in the entire event, which is a lot of fun. And again, the information for ticketing, well, the link will be in the show notes, so you can check it out. And come and meet Gladyss and party with us. We're going to have a lot of fun, lots of fun. And Linda says, I love building walls. Well, then you won't like using automatic Mahjong tables.
No, yes, she will. She will. Feel like.
You will? Yeah, yeah. Okay. That's great. Are there any more questions?
Must leave. Thank you. Thank you, Toby. I see that. How come it's
Yeah.
popped up on mine?
Yeah. Thank you for joining us tonight. Well, yeah, and there's some people that did say goodbye that had to hop off and said they had a great time. Very interesting, of course. We knew that. We knew all of this would be great. Gladyss, I just want to thank you so much again for joining me tonight. Just so excited to have you on here, and looking forward to getting to know you more and spending time with you at MahJongg. Again, I'll have all the information available in the show notes. Please look out for the replay, share it with your friends if they weren't able to watch it, and we're gonna call it a night. So thanks everybody for joining and being here tonight. We'll see you again in a couple of weeks for the next Expert Connect. All right, everybody. Good night.
Thank you all.